It started with a vision for how the internet should work, how it could work.
It really should be possible for anyone to just kind of wave their hand and carve out a piece of cyberspace and create a world of their own.
But the technology to achieve such a vision simply did not exist.
There's no way that you can have really high throughput and also have all these security and fairness properties. I was able to convince myself it's not possible. And I set it aside, and it would come back and haunt me, and it would keep nagging at me. And so I would pick it up again and set it aside again. And this kept going for years.
3 years later, Lehman had a breakthrough, the hashgraph consensus algorithm. In 2015, Mance and Lehman founded Swirls to battle test the algorithm in private permissioned environments. And the following year, Lehman published the technical paper. But in order to realize the vision of a fairer, more secure digital future for all, the world needed a trust layer, a public ledger built on Hashgraph.
Okay, it looks like we are down to the final seconds here.
3, 2, 1. Open access.
The network is open. As of this moment, we have council member nodes online, ready to take transactions from anyone, anywhere in the world.
Since open access, Hedera has witnessed exponential growth on the network, with billions of real-world transactions, hundreds of applications, and tens of thousands of ecosystem developers. The Hedera Council has gone from strength to strength, growing to 29 members on 6 continents, stewarding the network responsibly and ensuring its longevity for generations to come. Hello, future.
I just want to formally welcome all of you to HomeBridge. We are super excited to have all of you here. Very excited to be working again with Ken and newly with Soniya in terms of hosting this event here. Tech Week is such an important time, and we're very lucky and very fortunate to be a small part of this week and this event. I thought I'd give a little bit of an overview in case you're wondering, who is HomeBridge or what is HomeBridge. So HomeBridge. We were founded back in 1985, and so we are about to celebrate next year our 40th anniversary. And it started as a consortium to really serve the community. So for us, our clients are older adults, so 65 plus, as well as adults with disabilities. And we also serve the most vulnerable here in San Francisco. So the very foundational business that we have is actually home care. So we have a staff of about 440 plus direct caregivers that go out in the community here in San Francisco and actually take care of that vulnerable population. So that's the bulk of what we do. In addition to that, we also had a program called Career Pathways, which was a training program. And the scope for that is beyond San Francisco. So we actually train caregivers all over California, so in all 58 counties across the state. And we've to date trained over 75,000 caregivers. So it's a fairly large population as well. So that was our second program that we just wrapped up in September. In addition to that, we have some smaller programs that are also very important. We support through CalAIM Enhanced Care Management. So I'm very proud of the organization we have here. We have nearly 500 in terms of our staff, and we serve a lot of clients. Some of our staff actually are here tonight, so I want to just give a shout out and thanks to, hopefully I remember everybody's name, Lori, who's our communications head that you've been working with. Yeah. Francisco, who's done the heavy lifting on facilities, Alvinia, our community partner, and who am I missing? Sarah Lonnie, oh my God, and Sarah Lonnie, who always is a chair for everything that we do. She's amazing, she works with our staff, so I just want to give a shout out to our HomeBridge people, and thank you again, Ken and Soniya, for allowing us to host this event here. So please enjoy the office. We have a tiny office here, but hopefully it's something that you can really enjoy for the next hour or so, and I'll be around in case you want to hear more about HomeBridge. We'd love to share and also get your support as well. Thank you.
I just want to test the crowd here. How's everyone doing tonight? especially thank you all for choosing this event as part of your SF Tech Week. There's a lot of things happening, but you chose tonight to come and listen to this great panel that we had before. So let's give a round of applause to the panel before this. All right, now the next group that we have, right, it's an incredible group. It's truly an honor and a privilege for me to be a moderator for all women leadership group. I may not be reflected maybe because of the hair, right? But this is a great opportunity for me to learn and hear from these great leaders and their experience, and also for you all to hear about what they're doing. So with that, I am gonna call the speakers up, the panelists up. First, we're Monette. Since you're standing, you want to come up and have a seat? All right. Now, they're going to introduce themselves, talk about what they do, but then I also have a little icebreaker question for them to start off. So, Preethy, you want to come up? All right. So, Preethy is VP of Marketing for Bidgely. And also, we have Ankita. Come on up. Last and not least, we have Shoba. Now, we're going to get through each of our speakers to introduce themselves, but as part of the introduction, who they are, what they're working on, is maybe something fun fact. What are the most recent vacation or trip that you took, right, that you want to share with the group? So with that, I'll pass it to Monette.
Hi. So on Saturday, I swam from Marina Green to Aquatic Park for a fundraiser for Swim Across America. We raised money for cancer research, and we raised over $500,000. So that's a fun fact. And it's a great organization. So yeah, I ocean swim. But I've been in tech for a really long time. I started my career as a software engineer. I was really fortunate to be part of a founding team right out of college. I was the 18th person, a group of people out of Bell Labs. The company IPO'd when I was 25. It gave me a great taste of being part of a startup. I had three other startups that I worked on after that. One more IPO, and then two more companies that went public through acquisition, and I have also co-founded and run an investment bank, and I advise companies through growth stages.
Thank you for sharing that, Preethy.
Hi everybody, my name is Preethy Padmanabhan. Interestingly, I too have a water-related story for you. So I went to Bali back in June, and there was a beautiful experience where it was a natural spring, a cold water spring, and from there they had these 12 different waterfall-like experience that you had to go through. So we went with hundreds of people. It was part of a temple. So it was a very beautiful experience doing that with my family. I thought that was a very unique thing to do. My background, I was an engineer. I turned into a product marketer, and then now I run all of marketing for the current company. I was in big companies like Cisco and Dell back in the day, but the last 10 years I've been in 5 different startups. 2 of them went IPO, Nutanix and Freshworks. One of it was a private equity exit. Right now, I'm the VP of marketing at a climate tech startup. So I'm really excited about what we do in terms of decarbonization. We use AI, ML, and other technologies for that.
That is awesome. Ankita.
Hello, everyone. So fun vacation was my trip to Maui. I'm an artist as well. So I went to explore and decide what my next upcoming art pieces would be. In terms of profession, I started my journey as an entrepreneur. I founded a company called ParkSnap, and that digitized parking spaces back in India. I was able to have a successful exit there and joined a couple of YC startups. And currently, I'm working as a product lead for Key.ai. We're helping communities build platform and help members to engage better.
Great.
I'll stick with the aquatic theme. I went last fall to India and Eastern Europe, and in India, I went for a week to the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, which are off the eastern coast, and not many people know about it in America. It's kind of, everyone hears of the Maldives and places like that, but these are kind of unknown, and out of a few hundred islands, only 4 are inhabited by humans, and it's breathtakingly beautiful. The water, aquatic life, for snorkeling, scuba diving, everything is just amazing. So, and I came from a biochemistry medicine background, switched to tech about 15 years ago, started out in health tech, got into fintech, mobility tech, did some medical device, 9 different startups, 2 exits, and now I'm an advisor through Plug and Play, Alchemist, a couple different other accelerators, and then I also do some investing. I have a portfolio with my sister. Yeah.
That's a very inspiring background. I'm definitely honored, privileged up here to moderate this panel. So now, you talk about life science, right? What inspired you to pivot from life sciences, and how did that shape your approach as an investor?
Well, it was the early 2000s when I was thinking about becoming a doctor, and I was in the middle of medical school in North Carolina, and I was originally from here. I was from the Bay Area. I'd gone to college here, and just saw everything that was happening in terms of tech and how exciting it was, and I thought there was a lot of necessity for tech to impact the healthcare space. And it's interesting that we're in home healthcare venue right now, because I started out with a health tech startup, which basically gave assisted living help. It was a software system for assisted living facilities, retirement homes, etc., and it helped with care management, with medical records, with medication management, etc. And I just saw a lot of need for automation and technology in the medical field.
And Ankita, for you, right, as you see a lot of the audience is here learning, I want to learn more about like how and what are some lessons that they would take from you, right? Especially now with your background, like what role do you think AI is building more equitable and diverse professional communities, as we're in a community here?
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't believe that AI would be able to solve all the problems of making everything diverse. But at the same time, if we have more women, more diversity creating AI, we would be able to train and reduce the data biasness of the product that we build. Yeah.
And then Preethy, for you, right, it's like, now, how can women leaders in the marketing help drive the emerging, especially we're just talking about AI, right, with AI technologies and more in like a more traditional industry?
Yeah, so both at Freshworks and at Bidgely, I had the opportunity to market AI to a broad range of industries, right? Like right now, I mean, energy can be most traditional industry, and then other industries like travel, retail, etc. So what I believe in going back to the fundamentals, right? Do we understand the audience? Do we know their pain point? And can we make AI work for them in a way that actually benefits? It's not AI for AI's sake. For example, one of the key takeaways our customers shared with us, the energy vice president of the largest utility in Northwest, shared that the customer gives 8 minutes per year time to the utility. Right? That's the amount they care. All they care is their energy bill does not go up, right? And the time they call the energy utility is when the bill goes up. And so with AI, we provided the ability for the utilities to tell them, like, here, these are the 10 reasons what you can just query them using GenAI chat type tools, why your bill went up. And so thereby, that was a use case AI made immediate impact. And this particular customer could reduce their truck rolls, which is where they have to go to the client site to determine if there is actually a problem, by like 27%, right? So that's where we made it relevant for a traditional industry like energy, for how AI could actually make them help their customers.
Yeah, and then the previous panel and a lot of people here, especially for SF Tech Week, I was here to listen about Web3, but there's also emerging technologies, like we were just talking about AI, right? But for you, Monette, right? What emerging technologies are you most excited about fostering innovation for women in tech leadership?
Well, I've been in both AI and Web3 for a long time. My first company, we did interactive voice response, and we were doing speaker recognition, and it's been really amazing to see how the technology has evolved and how back then we were very constrained by processor speed and memory and all these things which have been now been solved. So I think that tech is a really open field for everyone, and I'm excited to see different people coming from different areas. It's become global, so I think that that's really important. As a woman in tech, I think it's really important to support other women and other diverse groups. And with me, my career moved from first starting out as a software engineer to running projects, and moving up the engineering ladder and being a senior level VP of engineering and a CTO to moving more into the business side. At my third company, I think it was my second company actually, I moved from running engineering to corporate development where we needed to do buy-side acquisitions, which later led to me co-founding and running an investment bank that did both buy and sell side M&A as well as private placement. So I think one of the things, and I'll wrap up, is, take the opportunities when they come. And don't be stuck on thinking, oh, I'm an engineer, I have to stay, just being an engineer, or I'm not an engineer, and I can't go into something that has deep tech. Open yourself up to the opportunities and take them when they come.
Now, that's really great advice, even though we have a pretty mixed crowd here, right? There's almost close to 50% of women, and of course, as a part of the background that you talked about, right, it's the challenges that you experience and things that you've gone through, to be able to share that with the group, and that way they can learn from, not just because you're a woman, it comes to background, you're going through different things, right? So now, especially mentorship is very important, right? And for you, Shoba, what role do accelerators and mentorship play in empowering women-led startups to thrive?
Well, she mentioned that she'd been part of YC, and I'm sure she can admit, as other accelerators do, that they open immense networks for people who don't already have immense networks, especially if you're an immigrant founder, or you're not from San Francisco, and you're not built into this ecosystem, which is incredibly networked. Accelerators can open a lot of doors for you. Open doors to investors. It can open doors to potential partners, potential investors, and potential customers. And so, and then also it can give mentorship. It can give mentorship and some funding as well. Many accelerators, like Plug and Play and Alchemist, give some funding to the companies that come through their program as well.
What was the most important mentor that gave you some advice that you want to share?
The most important mentorship advice that I got, I think, was just to know your customer really well. I can agree with Preethy. Just really know your customer and tailor your product to your customer needs.
That's great, right? Now, Ankita, similar to that route, right, is this what advice would you give aspiring women, product managers looking to innovate? We're talking about AI, but it doesn't have to be AI, it could be other technology.
So one would be because we are, especially with AI, everything is changing so quick. Being able to think 10 steps ahead, being able to be up to date with current trends would be one thing. But also, as we are moving towards AI, not just building products using AI because it is cool, but also thinking about users, coming back to your point, Preethy, like thinking about users, their needs, and how that would play or that would use AI to enhance the entire product. Of course, going AI native would be what I would say, but constantly thinking about users' pain points.
That's great, and especially where that's going down to the path of advices, right? Now, Preethy, for you, what advice would you give women in tech who are looking to move into leadership roles?
So I'd make it very generic, right? Because there's a lot of men too. And for me, I have a very simple framework of moving into any role, right? There's three things I believe one needs to look at. One is functional expertise. Two is the industry or technology area. And three is relationships. When we are earlier in career, we just had to send a resume. Mostly. Now it's hard. I heard like my son applied for internship for this company. For 50 jobs, there were 15,000 people who applied. So certainly he couldn't just get away just sending his resume. But in the earlier days, you could just, early career could just send your resume. You had the functional expertise, you get hired. But later, for leadership roles, it's so important to build relationships. The last 4 or 5 jobs that I have got is all people reaching out to me because they really believe that I can add value. So bringing that community and being part of certain communities and networks like what we have with Orbis that Soniya is creating and the off-chain that Ken is creating. So being part of several communities and making sure you're putting yourself out there and building that relationship will be key besides having the functional expertise and the industry. Sometimes, most times if you have 2 out of 3, you can get hired at leadership roles. And if this time, interestingly, I didn't have most of the 3, but because I had a strong relationship, that way I could get into this new role.
Thank you for that, especially for the audience. That's why we set these events up, is for you to network and to build a community and get to know each other. So make sure you meet a new friend. But Ankita, you want to add something?
Yeah, I would definitely add in. And that's something that we are doing with Key as well, being able to build out communities so that not just we are able to understand what the community wants, but help each other grow together as well.
That's great. Now, a lot of points were pointed out during this conversation, right, about access, right? Especially resources, especially capital. When you're a new startup, a new founder, you're trying to get capital. Right? So Monette, you've been a successful entrepreneur, right? How can you ensure not just women entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs in general, gain better access to capital and key opportunities in AI, Web3, and blockchain?
Yeah, access to capital is what every entrepreneur wants. And people will come to me and they'll be like, oh, I just want smart money, or I want this or that. It's like, open yourself up and network. I mean, I think that's one of the main things. And what she said earlier, I mean, get involved with some of the incubators and accelerators because they do open up your network. And it's relationships. It's getting to know people. Because just sending out, I mean, all the junk, I'll be honest, I get so much junk email and messages on LinkedIn. If somebody's asking me for something, I just delete it. And so you want to have that personal relationship. So make the effort to go out and actually meet people. I think that's one of the most important things.
That's great. And again, highlighting why we're here today and, Shoba, for yourself, right? Especially with your extensive experience, right? Especially scaling businesses and growing, and you've been investing in different projects, right? What experience the challenges that you see people experience, particularly from the female perspective?
I think challenges in general in the tech industry, there are general biases against women in leadership positions, in sometimes, especially if you don't have an engineering or computer science background like I didn't, fitting into a business role in a technology company can be, and now technology is opening up and accepting people from all diverse backgrounds, which is interesting because you can add all kinds of perspectives to building a company, not just a tech perspective. So, so I think there's challenges just in general biases for what a woman knows, and then also there's of course work-life balance, those issues. So yeah,
that's true.
I think, though, one of the things that we're really starting to see, last year I helped put together a panel on diversity and innovation, and what you were saying about product market fit, the more diversity you have in your group, the more differences and more ideas that you're going to have. So it really is important to have that diversity. When I started getting into blockchain after being in software for many years, it was very male, dominated. And it took several years, and I was just like, oh, I'm back here again? I thought this was over. And so what's been really nice is seeing people like Soniya putting these together and having a much more diverse, group of people at events. And it also, I think, makes for better products. So I think that's important on a lot of levels.
And that's the definition of innovation, right? Diversity. About being able to be creative and thinking through and challenges and looking through all the various aspects. That's what drives innovation, right? So thank you for sharing that perspective. And now we're talking about opportunities, right? Challenges and opportunities. How about yourself, Ankita? What are the opportunities that you see women can especially right for women in AI-driven platforms in building B to C? A lot of the alphabets there, solutions.
Yeah, so that's where doubling down on what you just said, Monette. When you're building that B2B2C product, you have to be able to create products that would be equally fair to everyone. And again, coming back to what I mentioned earlier, is making sure that there aren't any biases within the product that's being built using AI. And why I mentioned that is adding on more diversity. So who creates AI and what biases are in that data, being able to use diversity, being able to use women, and bringing in more people would be able to reduce, widen, as well as penetrate equality gaps.
Nice. And, we're talking about especially with AI, it's code, it's, the large language models thing is whatever people put in there. Now, of course, for us is how do we tell that story, right? And for you, with the storytelling, right? What is storytelling play in highlighting the contributions of women in tech?
Yes. Actually, all of us are always telling stories when we are actually trying to negotiate something, or we are trying to even land a new opportunity, unless we tell a story, right? Say if you have somebody pitching to you and it's a really dull pitch, are you going to fund that entrepreneur? No. So we have to really develop our core pitch. For example, right, this is something that I did in the past. One is to create a brag log, especially if you're trying to pitch what you're doing about yourself or your company. If you can create like a brag log with 5 different sections of things that you really do well, and from there you craft your story, that's a great starting point to do that. And then the second piece of that, right, you've already created your brag log and you're ready to go, but then maybe point 1 and 5 are not important to this particular investor or your audience. Then make sure you focus more on the pieces that they really care about. So doing the research and studying what they care about, number 2, and then making the story relevant for them is really critical. And number 3 is practice, right? I used to go and pitch my story to people, especially people I trust who would give me constructive feedback, not just tell me, oh, that's great, go ahead, do it. Ready to take the constructive feedback, hone it, make it better. So those are some 3 ways by which we can really develop good stories and take it to the audience.
Wow, that is really good advice. Especially as we're coming, we want to give some time for people to network and potentially ask some questions, right? Monette, for yourself, we're going towards the advice part, right? Is as women are navigating the intersections of capital markets and tech-driven growth, what advice do you have for them?
A little dry. Well, I think understanding capital markets, understanding financing is one of the most important things that not only entrepreneurs, but executives and anybody in business can do. Understanding how everything works, you know, what you said at the beginning, product market fit is really important, but seeing who's going to buy it, how you're going to leverage it, how you're going to grow your company, and then how you're going to exit are all based on where you fit in the overall ecosystem. And that's the overall business ecosystem. So I think it's really important to understand that. I just had a call last night with someone who was taking a role in a new startup company, and he had gotten an offer to do, you know, I'm not going to go through what his offer was, but through it, I asked him questions and started thinking through, and I said, well, where is your value going to be? Instead of having, for example, a 4-year cliff, since you're front-loaded, do a 2-year cliff. So you need to really start thinking through things as, you know, you're developing in it. And even if you come from a technical background, one of the, I guess, one of the things that was most important to my career development was really understanding the finance side and then getting more involved with the business side and seeing where everything went, even if I wasn't going to be in a finance or a business role.
Great. We're getting towards the end of our panel and want to give some space for the audience to ask some questions. But before we go there, what advice or what conclusion would you want the audience to take away with? And how do people follow up with you as we continue on after the panel?
I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. If you send me something, remind me that we met at this event, then I will respond to you. I also get a lot of random messages. But I would just say I'm really excited for the changes that are coming, and I'm sure there are a lot of entrepreneurs here that are as well. I'm embracing Web3, I'm embracing AI in my life, in my business, and I think, and whenever I go and speak, I encourage people, despite the regulatory concerns, despite the ethical concerns, just to embrace the changes that are coming.
And how about yourself, Ankita? Key takeaways?
Yeah, for me, especially with this conversation today, one of the biggest one was how community can actually help everyone grow, learn, and engage better. Like, put yourself out there. And I'm just saying this to myself as I talk to you all as well, that being able to network, put yourself out there would not just help us learn, but also engage better and be in front of the technology. I'm available again on LinkedIn, so please feel free to reach out to me.
We gotta check out your art also, right?
Yes.
And Preethy?
Sure. Two pieces. One is believe in yourself and be unabashedly visible. I really follow that, especially the second part of being unabashedly visible. I run my own podcast, so you can certainly follow me and reach out through that. It's called 10x Growth Strategies. And one book that I want to recommend is Brag, The Art of Tooting Your Own Horn Without Blowing It. That's a really good book to check out. The other way is, of course, LinkedIn. So podcast or LinkedIn.
I love that. Tooting your own horn without blowing it. Yeah, I'm also available on LinkedIn. Again, remind me that you met me here, and don't try to sell me something or I'll just delete the message. But, you know, my biggest piece of advice is just like Shoba had said, you know, embrace the technology. Web3 and AI are fundamental to what's going on moving forward, and then the different verticals that are important are all using them already. So you're talking about climate, health tech, pharma, you know, network infrastructure, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, embrace, and things will get sorted out as we move on.
Those are some amazing advices, and especially sharing your background. I want to open it up for the audience. I'm going to run to you with the mic. Are there any burning questions you want to ask the panelists? Anybody in the audience want to ask the panelists question?
Any brave?
Right here.
I grew up with more women in my family, So here I often join like events for women entrepreneurs. I was wondering like how can like men be supportive of women? I don't think like we as a society talk much about this topic. Yeah, but I was just wondering if you have any good ideas.
Yeah, I mean, I think just understanding some of the like work at home has made life a lot easier for a lot of women, I think, and some of the come back to office policies that companies are putting in place don't make it as easy to manage raising children or you know, having a work-life balance. And so I think helping, just understanding that women want to work mostly, and women want to contribute to society, but allowing there to be a place for balance allows that to happen more easily.
Couple of quick ways by which anybody can contribute. One is if you're part of a team and you don't see like even one woman, or ideally 2 to 3 is great, then making sure that you share that and then try to get people to be part of the team. And second is there are so many organizations that are focused on women or girls in high school, right? Girls in tech, many of those organizations, to even provide opportunities for mentoring some of the up-and-coming women of the future might also a great way to add to the society.
Yeah, I was going to say something similar, and I think making teams in the work environment more female-friendly, you know, telling dirty jokes and talking only about sports. I mean, you know, it's not a very often female-friendly environment. So, you know, just kind of keeping that in mind, I think, is important.
Anybody else in the audience want to ask a question? Going once? Going twice? Oh, right here. All right.
So I'm actually new to San Francisco. What is it that you think you don't have in your community here that you feel like you should have and you would like to create?
SF is very well known for tech. I mean, it's no secret. We are all talking about tech. We are constantly with people in tech. One thought I have is, can we actually bring the other traditional roles, people together that are probably not in tech, but really benefit from tech? Right? And if we can create collaborative community that cross-pollinate, might be an interesting way of how we can enrich this whole SF scene.
For me, it is most of the networking events that I've been to, it's more about introductions, and it ends there until the time I go to another one and happen to meet the same person again. How do we make sure that the first handshake can actually last long, making sure that there are constant touch points, constant events where the right people are picked in. So community platforms or communities would actually help in with that.
No, I'll just say as the city as a whole, if you're new to the city, you obviously realize there's the haves and the have-nots, right? I mean, technology has built so much wealth in the San Francisco Bay Area that it's a shame that there is so much poverty in the city, and there has to be empathy from all of us that are creating wealth in this community and in this city. We have to all think about how to give back to those that don't have it, you know, because it's truly sad to me to go to other parts of the world, like Eastern Europe, and not seeing one homeless person on the street, and not seeing anyone without, you know, without the basic necessities like healthcare. And we as a, it's really, to me, it affects me every time. I live half my time in San Francisco and half in the East Bay, and every time I'm in the city, it really disheartens me that so much of that exists here. So.
That was a great question. Welcome to San Francisco. I grew up in San Francisco, So it's definitely a privilege for me to be able to sit up here, especially when we're talking about representation. Representation is important. There's have and have not. And the reason why Soniya, which we want to give a round of applause to Soniya again, and putting this together, is about creating the space so we can build community. Right? Whether you're a woman leader, whether you're a startup, whether you're somebody coming from a different country to try to make it, right? We're all here for this purpose, and how do we support each other? Especially I have my childhood friend sitting over there, Cynthia, right? She came in support, right? And knowing that we grew up in San Francisco, exactly what Shoba was saying, there's a lot of opportunities. How do we bridge that? And it's through your leadership, through your words, through your wisdom, through your storytelling, right? And through your advice that you've been provided to the room and continue to provide, not just for future leaders from the female group, but from everybody that's able to come and make a difference and make an impact. So with that, I want to thank the audience for being here today. Thank you. And HomeBridge and the HomeBridge staff is still here. Thank you. Okay, we have some more wrap-up. So with that, let's give a round of applause to our panel.
Imagine a life without technology. Technology has become an integral part of our lives and the backbone to many businesses in today's world. So much so that we have come to depend on it for day-to-day operations. Genius Ventures is revolutionizing AI processing and machine learning platforms by linking together smart contracts with payment systems through their own Genius token, GNUS. The Genius system is a hybrid token system, with the Genius token being released on the Ethereum network, and is linked to a super fast Genius token using a proprietary internal blockchain for fast processing. Genius tokens are used in a unique platform, a secure, smart, and easy-to-use platform that completely disrupts the way businesses do AI/ML processing. Genius tokens are at the heart of a unique blockchain and software system, utilizing unused cycles of compute devices on computers, mobile devices, and IoT devices. The system processes artificial intelligence and machine learning data on an end-user device. Our team combines a passion for gaming, GPU industry expertise, and a proven record in technology, development, and cryptocurrencies. We are establishing our own internal ecosystem, starting with applications focused on artificial intelligence and machine learning. The system allows users to earn crypto while playing games, sleeping, or at any time using unused cycles of their personal devices. Our ICO is now live. You have the opportunity to get in early and join the revolution. Visit www.gnus.ai to purchase your tokens now.